This is how to code an AI-powered crypto trading bot that's 100% automated and can actually beat the market. Some of the biggest hedge funds in the world are powered by algorithmic trading, such as Citadel, Renaissance Technologies, and Two Sigma, but they're shrouded in secrecy. Behind closed doors, these firms are pulling billions out of the market using some of the most sophisticated algorithms ever built. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how to build your own. Now, I've been trading systematically for 6 years, and I've been coding for over a decade. I now run 10 plus algorithms that manage 6 figures across crypto, futures, and equities. But in this video, I'm going to break it down into the core components, starting with the idea, which in our case will be a Bollinger Band breakout strategy in crypto. This video is going to be split into a couple of different parts. Now, obviously part 1 is going to be the idea for the particular strategy. 2 is going to be the platforms and markets you can use. 3 is the tools and libraries as well. 4 is going to be the actual strategy logic. 5 is going to be the key code sections you're going to need in your own code. And 6 is position sizing and risk. 7 is backtesting. And 8 is going live and how to handle that. Now, the first section is the idea. Every algo starts with a hypothesis. You can't just tell AI, hey, make me money or make me a profitable trading strategy. All of those attempts aren't going to actually have an output that's successful. So you need a specific testable idea with clear rules that can be coded and backtested on real data. Now, where do these ideas actually come from? Well, they can come from academic papers, they can come from trading books. I actually have a whole video recommending a ton of different quant and algorithmic trading books that you can learn from. You can of course do this from market observations, so what you notice other traders doing, or in your own trading, for example, which would be another type. And then a personal favorite is you can learn a lot from podcasts and interviews of other successful traders or traders exploiting different markets, and they'll often drop a couple of gems that you can kind of take those ideas and run with them. Now, to give you a bit of an overview of our idea for the day, it's just going to be a very basic Bollinger Band breakout. Primarily, our long entry is going to be a close above the upper band and a close above an SMA that is more of a long-term SMA just for kind of regime testing. Primarily, the idea is very basic. If price breaks out with momentum in line with the broader trend, that's when we want to be going long. Now, the exit is just going to simply be a close below the middle band of the Bollinger Band, which is also the SMA, and this primarily is showing us that momentum has been exhausted. The thesis for this, or the overall idea, is just classical trend following. Crypto trends really hard, and when it breaks out of a range, we're trying to ride that momentum. For example, this is one of the trades it was able to capture. As we can see, very nice long entry and exit, and it can result in a lot of money made. Now, 2 is platforms and markets. Where you trade matters as much as you trade sometimes. Now, why am I particularly focusing on crypto for this particular video? Well, 1, they've got 24/7 markets. Your bot never stops, and there's no gaps and really no official closes, which makes it really easy for you to have a bot running 24/7 looking for different kind of signals. Next is crypto's got amazing APIs everywhere. Every exchange gives you programmatic access, and there's also a lot of different data providers, and a lot of the data providers that are directly from those exchanges are free, which is a great little starting ground if you're new to algo trading. This leads me on to the next point, is lower barriers. You don't really have any PDT rules or anything like that. Now, I do hear obviously those are getting rid of those in equities, which is going to be a big change, but at least right now, crypto still is a very easy place to just deposit a bit of money and test it with your own code. Next, you've got very high volatility. There's a lot of breakouts, and there's a lot of different things to trade within crypto itself and a lot of different sectors. Now, specifically in crypto, there's a couple of different options that you can go with. You can go with, for example, Hyperliquid. This is the main exchange I personally use. It has great APIs, pretty low fees, and it has decent leverage as well. You also have Binance, Bybit, Kraken, etc. And these often have really massive liquidity, or at least for particularly Binance. And they also have quite solid APIs as well. Now, our market actually for this particular video is going to be BTC and ETH, and it's going to be the 4-hour time frame, or you could even do this on a daily and weekly time frame as well. These are 2 very liquid pairs, plenty of historical data history, and also a time frame that's slightly slow enough so we avoid noise. For example, I don't want to be trading 1 minute, 2 minute, etc., things like that. That can be a very difficult time frame to find any edge at all, but we're not going super slow, such as a weekly time frame, just so we have a couple more trades that we can actually examine over this particular backtest. Now, if you are looking to trade other markets, I personally still trade futures and equities as well, and that can normally be through Interactive Brokers, NinjaTrader, and a couple other options. And all the same foundational points that I'm kind of mentioning in this video do still apply to other markets, but just for the example, it's going to be primarily crypto. Now, number 3 is the tools and libraries you want to specifically use. Now, if you're new to coding, I would really recommend Claude Code. It's one of the best tools if you don't know how to code. And even me personally, I still use it to just ask general questions, and maybe if I have a boring kind of part of the code that it can just kind of write for me. There's also Cursor, which is a great alternative, and both of these beat copying and pasting from ChatGPT. And I do also believe there's Codex now, which is kind of OpenAI's version of Claude Code, which which is something you can look into. Now, the language we'll be using is Python. This is one of the classic kind of languages to use in algorithmic trading, primarily because it's used on every exchange in crypto. Every library really works with it. There's a lot of different libraries you can use and plug and play with. And almost every AI is built for Python as well. So it's very easy to plug in or get AI to write you Python code because it's very well trained on it. Next is the libraries. Now, I keep it quite minimal. You're just going to focus on the core ones, which are going to be pandas, which is primarily for data handling. You've got NumPy for the math. You've got CCXT for exchange connections in crypto, so like connecting to Hyperliquid or Binance, etc. Then you've got Matplotlib and Plotly for visualizing results as well. You maybe will have a couple extras from here, but I always like to keep these quite minimal, mainly because of this one warning. I see a lot of newcomers try and use plug and play backtesting libraries. And a lot of the time, these libraries come with hidden assumptions you're not going to notice until you're actually running a strategy live. And then a lot of the time that can be wasted effort and energy, or you try and fix the problem from there and it just becomes even more of a mess in the actual code. So my personal opinion is build your own simple engine or use very minimal tools where you know every line, and that's going to be a bit slower to start, but it'll be a lot better because you can actually trust your results and you also know all the assumptions you're making for that particular metric or for that particular outcome. Now, this is also exactly what we do in the Crypto Momentum group. We give you templates, strategy ideas, and help you go from backtest to live execution, even if you've never coded before. We help you build your first live crypto algo, and if you're interested at all, just click the first link in the description and see what it's about. Now, next is the actual strategy logic. The clearer your rules are, the better the AI codes them, or that you can personally code them as well if you're coding this manually. Vague rules equals AI guesses, and then often bugs will happen, or it will actually create a strategy that maybe has a look-ahead bias or issues that you're not going to be able to catch. Now, for this particular strategy, it's super basic. The entry is just a close above the upper band and a close above the SMA long. And then our exit is simply a close of that particular bar below the middle band or the SMA of that Bollinger Band. Our parameters, at least for default right now, is a 20 length for the Bollinger length. We have a 1 standard deviation, and then for our SMA long, which is kind of our long-term SMA for regime testing, is a 200 SMA. And then for markets, we're just using BCC and ETH, and then the time frame is 4 hours like before. No optimizations have been run, just kind of sensible default inputs. Here's another kind of example trade you can see. Primarily it's going long above when it's breaking out above the upper band, and then you can see it's closing once it closed below the middle band. Now, it's not always actually going to close exactly the middle band because we're waiting for the close of the bar. So in a particular other screenshot I think I showed above, it kind of closed a lot further below the middle band, and that's just because there was a lot of volatility in that one particular day, which meant actually by the time the bar closes, it's actually quite a bit further than the middle band. Now, next is the key code sections you're going to really need to understand when writing any backtest or even algo as well. Now, number one is the data layer. For this particular backtest, we're downloading open, high, low, close. These are coming directly from the exchange, and we're also then caching them locally so we don't have to re-download them every time we run this particular backtest. Now, keep in mind, this is your foundation for everything in your backtest code. So bad data is going to equal bad everything. So make sure you're using a good quality data provider. And in this case, I'm using Binance just because Binance has some of the oldest data and also some of the most liquid data. Next is going to be the indicator calculation. So this is where you turn your raw price data into a particular indicator. So for us, this is going to be a Bollinger Band and an SMA with standard deviation. And ideally, you want to keep this separate from your signal logic. The reason why is potentially in the future, if you want to swap out these indicators, that's going to be a lot easier to do when they are kind of separate components rather than having them kind of intertwined with your signal logic. Free is the actual signal generation. So this is where we're turning indicator values into an entry or exit signal. This is normally what is a state machine. So this is where you're tracking whether you're in a position or you're flat. And then you admit a 1, which would be entry, or a -1, which would be an exit, for example. Now, a critical part of signal generation here is you want to make sure you're executing on the next bars open, just so you avoid any look ahead bias. In this particular case, it wouldn't be that drastic if we used the current bars close, but it's always a better frame of mind to use the next bars open to make sure you're not having any look ahead bias in between there, especially if you're doing lower time frames and things like that. 4 is going to be the execution and cost modeling. Every trade has costs. If you don't model them, your backtest is going to be a fantasy for the most part. So in this particular backtest, I had taker fees, which are about 0.05% per side, both entry and exit. And I also had slippage of 0.1% per side, as these are market orders that I'm assuming here. Over the lifetime of our backtest that I'll show you just later in this video, it actually paid 35,000 in fees and 71K in slippage. Skip this and my backtest could have looked, potentially 50% better. Now, number 5 is the backtest engine and the actual metrics themselves. This is where you're normally going to want to loop through every bar, track equity, record every trade, mark your positions, so the equity curve is accurate between trades as well, and not just at trade exits. Then you want to compute your metrics as well. That actually matters, so these are normally going to be the Sharpe ratio, max drawdown, profit factor, CAGR, win rate, etc. Now, these 5 sections are normally going to be the same whether you're trading a Bollinger Band breakout, momentum strategy, mean reversion, or really anything else. Sometimes there'll be very slight adjustments, but for the most part, if you focus on these 5 key sections, you're going to build quite a solid backtest. Next is the position sizing and risk for this particular strategy. Now, most traders are obsessing over entries and never really consider how you position size. For this strategy, I'm just using equal sizing. The reason why is it's the most simple for AI to do. Also, it's very basic and easy for anyone that's newer to algorithmic trading to understand. This is where every trade gets the same dollar allocation comparative to the portfolio size. So for example, if the portfolio was $10,000 and we had 2 particular trades we had to take, both of them would just get $5,000. And then as that grew, let's say it's now a $100,000 account, both trades would still just get $50,000 each, and it's just because there's an equal sizing between them. Now, there is a bit of a sizing evolution, let's say, of kind of better techniques to use. Number 1 is equal sizing, then you've got fixed percentage risk per trade, then you've got volatility targeting. This is where size scales with the volatility you're kind of taking on. And you've got level 4, which is kind of portfolio level volatility targeting across a couple of different strategies that you're running. I actually have a dedicated video on volatility targeting. If you want to check it out, it's the video on position sizing. Now, number 7 is backtesting. This is where we actually want to prove that it works before risking our own money. Our test was on BTC and ETH using 4-hour time frame from January 2018 to April 2026, so around 8 years, give or take. Our starting capital was around $10,000, and we had fees and slippage applied, just as I mentioned above. Now, this was the equity curve we got returned. No optimization was run at all. This is just the parameters I kind of loaded up by default. As we can see, pretty good equity curve. Now, obviously, there's quite a lot of chop in the sense where we get huge run-ups and then huge sells off, and then we kind of don't really go anywhere for a bit, and then we continue that kind of process. To look more at the metrics, the total return was about 2,000% over that time frame. The CAGR was 44%. We had a max drawdown of 26, well, almost basically 27%. We had a Sharpe ratio of 1.29. Total amount of trades taken was 661, and we had a win rate of 36.5%. In total, I paid about $35,990 in fees, and we have a Kalma ratio of 1.66. Now, overall, when I actually look at these numbers, I'm actually not that unimpressed. While we do have a low win rate, which is about 36%, it is profitable, and the losses are quite small, and the wins are very big, as we can see from this equity curve where we're getting big jumps kind of up from those particular sections. And this is a very classical trend following profile, which is what I'm quite happy to see, because for the most part, this is a very classic trend following strategy. We're trying to capture momentum, hold for it as long as possible, and then obviously we're going to lose in times where there's a lot of chop or if we draw down. Additionally, 26.8%, while it sounds like a big max drawdown, especially if you're coming from equities or things like that, actually in BTC, or at least in crypto, that is actually quite good. BTC by itself normally draws down around 80 to 90%. So to minimize that to only around 26.8, definitely not too bad over that time frame. But you have to remember, this is just the beginning. A single backtest result is not enough. Next, we want to stress test it and make sure the edge is actually robust. The biggest fear when building any algorithmic trading bot is overfitting, where it looks great on historical data, but it completely fails on live data. One way to check for this is just using a parameter sensitivity check. This is where we tweak each parameter slightly and see if the strategy falls apart. Ideally, what we're looking for is stable results across nearby values, and this equals a robust strategy. So for example here, I'm testing out the standard deviation multiplier and the SMA period for the Bollinger Band. And as we can see, for the most part, we're getting a very nice stable region. The kind of yellow and green means profitable, and then the deeper blue kind of purple is where we're getting either to lower profitability or unprofitable. We can see we are really unprofitable at around 10 SMA for the Bollinger Band and a free standard deviation. But then kind of as we even out on both sides, we're quite stable across the side of things. This is also measuring Sharpe ratio. So we're trying to see actually how much we're getting for the risk we're taking on. And this is what I would say is a pretty good parameter sensitivity, as it's a nice stable region. Also, what helps is we only have 3 parameter. So there's kind of fewer knobs to turn, which means fewer ways to accidentally overfit. Because one of the easiest ways to overfit is you just add a ton of parameters and a ton of parameter values, and then keep on twisting them until you find something good. Now, another version of the parameter sensitivity test is you can see how it looks on a max drawdown. So we can see here with a standard deviation of 1, and a SMA period of 70, we're getting our highest max drawdown of around 41%, whereas when we go to the 2 standard deviation around the 40 SMA, we're getting quite a stable region overall in the middle as well. Now, there's a couple more tests we could actually run on this particular strategy. We could do out of sample testing. Ideally, we would have split some data at the beginning if we were going to do that. You could also do a walk forward optimization. So this is where we're doing a rolling out of sample test. There's also Monte Carlo simulations and also stress events, such as testing if the strategy would have blown up on 2020, for example. Now, luckily, because our backtest went over that time period, we can see it didn't blow up or have a huge drawdown from that time, but ideally you'd want to test on other stress events as well. Now 8 is going live. This is the part where you get to get something running even while you sleep and potentially making you money. But first, I would always recommend to paper trade it or test it on a very small amount of money for 2 to 8 weeks, especially if it's your first algo ever. Most of the times you probably have made some mistakes, so you want to make sure that your live results are trying to at least match your backtest results, whether that be in terms of the assumptions you made on fees and slippage, or if that actually just means on the entries and exits. Sometimes if you've coded a bad backtest, there'll be phantom entries or exits that actually weren't even possible on live markets, and you want to make sure that you're seeing if those are happening. Next, you can use a VPS. If you're running an algo, for example, and you're just running it on your laptop, if your laptop closes at 3 a.m., that could cost you a trade, or that could mean that you're stuck in a trade. So I'd always recommend getting maybe a VPS. They can be very cheap, from about 10 to 20 bucks per month, and then they can get more expensive depending on what you're doing. And this means your algo is running 24/7 on that piece of code. A real example of this for me is I'm originally based in Dubai, and during the whole Iran war conflict, I had to seek shelter, but my algos kept on running without any issues because they were all on VPSs, and especially on American servers as well. Lastly, start small. Real money does change everything. Fills are different, slippage is different, your psychology is different on drawdowns. So deploy with an amount you wouldn't mind losing. I hope this was valuable, and see you soon.